Welcome to this week's screencast for training and development. This one is a good wrap-up and future direction screencast. We're going to talk about future trends of training and development, and in particular trends to watch. Even if you're not working in training and development or even HR, these things will impact you as an employee. So let's look at our agenda. We're really going to look at two trends or two things. The first is technology, and we're going to look at technology to deliver training, and then also technology as an area to do training around, about, and for. And then secondly, for those of you who will have some sort of training role in your job, again, regardless if you work in training and development explicitly or HR, if you plan to do any sort of supervision, management, training is very likely some form of that type of role that you will take. And so it's good to know what sorts of skills you're going to need. So the first is to look at using technology to deliver training, and it will increase because, as we know with the innovation and adoption cycles, as new technology continues to accelerate and come to the market faster, those costs will decrease, especially for employers. New technology and using technology to deliver training actually helps employees better serve customers and generate new business. It can reduce training costs, in particular if using new technology allows more people to participate in training and decrease costs in travel and face-to-face and more traditional training. That right there is a cost savings. And then finally, training moves to being just in time or on demand, and it can be ultimately technology becomes a method through which training can be delivered at any place in time. So this also means that training in the use of technology will increase because more employees will experience the following. The first is they're going to participate in virtual teams. So again, whether they are in a traditional workforce setting, workplace setting, where they are in an office or in an environment, a brick and mortar environment, it's more likely they're going to be working with colleagues that are not in the same location. So it's natural to know that they're going to expect to use tools that will facilitate digital collaboration and communication. On the flip side, more employees will probably work in some form of telecommuting situations, whether that's part-time telecommuting, full-time commuting situations. On the flip side, more employees are expected to either travel or telecommute. So it might be one day a week, they may be fully telecommuting, they may be a contingent workforce where, depending on the job and the projects that they're working on, they're telecommuting. So they're going to need to increase their own technology skills to use tools without any sort of peer support, and even to be able to use technology to access help desks and support to be able to use whatever tools are assigned to them. And both of these situations require what we call embedded learning and social learning. So embedded learning is where learning just becomes part of how you do your job. And the best example I can give is when I'm in my full-time job and I'm completing a project and I encounter a task and I don't know enough about it. Within the midst of accomplishing the task, I'm going to access resources that allow me to complete that task without going to a one-day training. It may be an on-demand webinar, it may be reading an article or a fact sheet, but embedded learning basically means you access the resources you need in the moment to be able to accomplish the project or task. And social learning is really that interactive learning. And again, if you're working in virtual teams, social learning almost becomes inherent in how you do your work. And as you're using digital collaboration tools, you're learning from your colleagues in this interaction how to use these tools and how to better communicate. So finally, as I alluded to when I did the introduction and the agenda slide, even if you're not planning to work in training and development or HR, if you're planning a management or leadership track of in any career, training is going to be part of your role. And so these are skills that future trainers, whether again they focus on this as their career or it becomes a dimension of their work, will need. And the first is being able to match training content and methods to the local culture of the workforce. Secondly, increasing people's ability, skill, comfort with using multimedia tools, including audio, video, webcasts, and live action or traditional training. And I even think about having started teaching in higher education 11 years ago, and folks using multimedia, that really meant using publisher resources that were developed for us. It didn't mean we were content developers as instructors. So even in 11 years as an educator, that skill has changed dramatically. Delivering and packaging training in different formats and doing it for different audiences, for beginners through expert audiences. Developing and delivering learning that is integrated within the job, and I talked about that a little bit. Do you provide resources and what we call micro-learning opportunities that people can access while they're accomplishing the goals and objectives of their existing job? The benefits and obstacles to using social media. Social media is becoming an important component or conduit or channel for training and development. So just understanding the opportunities there, but also maybe some of the pitfalls and obstacles. And finally, with anybody who's doing, again, in any sort of role where they're looking to go into a management role, being able to identify the root causes of job and business problems, and then how training and development as a resource can respond to either eliminate the root cause or circumvent some of those problems. So in this screencast, we talked about the future of training and development, trends to watch, and trends that will impact you whether or not you choose HR or training and development as your career path.